So I spoke about emotional readiness. Let me talk about how to, attack this challenge. That comes with your personal health, so far called as mental health. Entrepreneurs' mental health is very important. We face enormous amount of challenge. Sometimes they call, you are giving a birth to a child, right? So it's so much of challenges that mother goes through. Of course, we cannot compare to that, but this is something like that, right? You don't know what's going to happen. You have to take all the stress. You have to take all the impact that comes out. As I said, the fluctuation is every day. It's not like 10 days or 1 month you'll be all fine and next month you'll get into the trouble. No, it fluctuates every day. The same customer who was happy yesterday might not be happy today, or the same tech working yesterday might not work today. And especially coming to the world of AI, it's even more unpredictable. So when these kind of dynamics are happening, an entrepreneur mindset and mental health becomes very, very critical. So what do we do for personal health? Some of the things that you need to take care is a regular exercise, maybe yoga, maybe running. Maybe if you're not an entrepreneur, maybe this might not play a big role. But if you're an entrepreneur, personal health and mental health is very, very critical. Of course, it is critical for everybody. But as an entrepreneur, because we face so many issues, sometimes it can be a family issue, sometimes it can be a health issue or a business issue. All the three comes in same force. So for an entrepreneur, keeping his or her health stable and consistent is very, very important. So some of the things I do is regular yoga, regular breathing exercise, because this helps you in controlling your emotions, controlling your unpredictable events that happens in front of you. Then basically running, swimming, whatever you do, this is very important. Never ever miss a personal health activity while you are an entrepreneur. Never change that. Of course, networking, socializing, these are different parts of your life, but I want to focus specifically on personal health because that plays a big role. We work long hours, right? We don't just sit like 9 to 5, maybe even 9 to 5 is work, but working for unlimited time, right? Like maybe you might work 80 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 40 hours a week. We don't know how much we work, right? So it brings lot of stress on your health and your mental happiness. And especially if you are a person who you had a very nice career and you started, then you face even more bigger challenge. You might not go out very often because you are stuck in some of the things to solve. So you should be ready to face this successfully. For that, your health is the key, right? So I would stress it again, have your personal health as a main agenda when you are starting as an entrepreneur, to focus on it. And meditation and breathing exercise is very critical. Of course, you can do many other stuff if you're doing it already, but I would recommend having this. And second thing is sharing it. Don't stop yourself. If you're facing a problem, share with people you trust. That's why I said, the 4Fs is very, very important. So you should be open to share it. Don't hold it back. The more you hold it back, it becomes bigger problem for you. You might ask advice. You might express your problems. It's not that, there is also a saying like, when you start a company, you're literally riding a lion. For everyone, they're saying that you're riding a lion, but for you, anytime you fall, that lion is going to eat you up, right? So that's how it is. So don't try to, stop yourself from sharing your challenges. Maybe, the same friends would have advised you that, hey, don't start, you're not ready for it. And maybe you started. It doesn't mean that, you don't have to go back and share. If you trust that friend, be ready to share. This will help you to free up your space. Somebody might advise you, somebody might support you. Be ready to take support. That is very important. As I said, emotional readiness, as one is all these 4Fs, one is your personal health, the third one is support system. Build your support system. Don't just get isolated from this. The more support system you have, the better success you have, right? And never ever stop at sharing your challenges. It always helps. It gives you, like a emotional support that, okay, I know people who are, supporting me. I can go back to them anytime I want. So this is a support system, I would say, strongly recommend you to be vocal, to be, be ready to take it up and ready to share, right? So otherwise it becomes an obstacle in itself. You always get isolated. Don't get into that mode.